On Friday, I put up a video about two Metropolitan police constables who had been attacked in Leicester Square in London. At the time, there was little information about the incident, but I did my best to report the facts and also, as I always do, add an opinion about the incident, which I do to help start debate and discussion in the comments. And as per normal, when I mention anything to do with culture or colour, which, by the way, if you have noticed, I try not to use the colour of people's skins in a report, as I don't think it matters in most cases, I was still called out to be a racist for suggesting that people from certain cultures far different from our own are responsible for a lot of knife crimes in the UK. Now, sometimes I simply give an opinion, but that comment was never an opinion. It was fact, and in fact it's common sense. Anyone who manages not to fall into the race baiting trap can see it clear as day. But of course we're racist for even suggesting such a heinous thing. Well, this report will prove to you that I was right about the perpetrator of that incident in Leicester Square, and that I'm right about the rest of what I said in the last report. And yes, this will be backed up by facts that you can go and search for yourself. Let's start with the incident itself. The two police constables who were injured were said to have suffered a stab to the arm and several stab wounds to the neck. The female constable suffered the least serious injury and is been said that she's now been discharged from hospital, but the male PC, who was stabbed in the neck, is said to be remaining under medical supervision. As of the time of writing this report, that is. The injuries to both people are said to be life-changing. Now, in my last report, I mentioned in some cultures carrying and using a knife is commonplace. For example, look at South Africa. The criminals there will happily stab someone or shoot them without a second thought when they try and rob from your car as you're stuck in traffic. That doesn't make me racist. It's proven if you do some simple research online. Eastern Europeans like to use knives to solve disputes. Again, if you do your own research online, you'll find that to be true if you think that's me being racist, but it doesn't stop there. Carrying knives and using them for Brits was usually reserved for the real dregs of society, the utter scum of the earth type of people, and while these people still do carry and use knives, the trend has widened and more people are carrying and using blades. In my opinion, this is because of an influx of people who are more willing to shank you than not, and this is due to their culture, the way they grew up in the places they grew up, and it's led to youngsters of all backgrounds feeling the need to arm themselves too in order to protect themselves. But the problem is, when you have a knife for protection, the chances of you using it in offence rather than defence increases, and we suddenly see a huge rise in Sadiq's London of knife crime and people dying at the hands of knife-wielding offenders. Before anyone even reported on who the offender was in the Leicester Square incident, I already made an educated guess, hence why I mentioned culture. And since that report went out on Friday, it has now been confirmed that the suspect, who was arrested at the time on suspicion of GBH and assault of an emergency worker, was 24-year-old Mohammed Rahman. Would you believe my surprise when I heard the name and realised that the people calling me racist in the comments would now have to pretty much eat their words. And in fact, some of them have even gone as far as to delete their entire comments, which was quite amusing. Now, the information given on Friday was that two cops got stabbed while trying to arrest the man. I think most of you likely thought the same as me when we heard that, and that was that it was the suspect and two cops. But I found a video of the incident which shows, I believe, 5 police all falling around like clowns whilst trying to detain the man. And in fact, you can hear a taser in the background being discharged for an extended period of time. Now, my first question here is, what the actual fuck were police trying to achieve? It looks like a Keystone Cops moment. Dealing with an armed man prancing about. Where was the pulver spray when the tasers failed to work? Where was the cop spraying the suspect in the face and another going down to take his legs out? Again, a situation that should have been handled very, very differently, and the injuries, from what I can tell, are partly due to the bunch of morons trying to subdue the man. And yes, that's an opinion. Since Mohammed Rahman was arrested on Friday morning, he has since been charged. I did ask at the time on Friday why GBH and assault of an emergency worker and not attempted murder, but it seems that they have changed their minds on the offences and decided to go with an attempted murder charge rather than just GBH and assault. In fact, a Metropolitan Police statement has said a man has been charged by detectives investigating the stabbings of 2 police officers in Westminster on the morning of Friday the 16th of September. Mohammed Rahman, 24, of Westbourne Park Road, W2, was charged on Saturday the 17th of September with attempted murder and Section 18 GBH with intent. The attempted murder charge relates to a male police constable, the GBH to the female police constable. He was also charged with assault, ABH, and 2 counts of threatening a person in a public place with a bladed article. These charges relate to 3 other police constables. In addition, he was charged with robbery and possession of a bladed article. Rahman will appear in custody at Wimbledon Magistrates Court on Monday the 19th of September. Now, this guy was not, by the looks of it, black, but definitely was of, let's say, a non-English heritage. So we do need to be careful when talking about knife crimes and the perpetrators, as a lot of people say it's mainly black folk. But I disagree. I think, as I've said, that it is mainly people from a non-English culture, and that would include the BAME subgroup, of which Mohammed Rahman was a part of. But for the race baiters, here are some facts from the office of the London Mayor and the London Assembly from February this year, 2022. Despite making up only 13% of London's total population, black Londoners account for 45% of London's knife murder victims, 61% of knife murder perpetrators, and 53% of knife crime perpetrators. London Assembly member Sem Moem, who proposed an amended motion to set up a joint commission to specifically look at knife crime affecting the black community, said in a London Assembly meeting, "Tackling violent crime, which has had a disproportionate and tragic impact on black Londoners, must remain at the top of City Hall's agenda. I'm pleased that this amended motion has been passed by the London Assembly today, calling for City Hall and the government to set up a joint commission to look at the additional resources needed to urgently address this issue. We cannot ignore the underlying factors behind violent crime, such as deprivation, lack of positive opportunities, and inequality. This is why a continued multi-agency and holistic approach is needed, engaging all levels of government." And although I agree that deprivation has an impact, as I've said many times before, it's unfortunate that BAME communities are set up in deprived areas by councils, and this does have an effect on their likelihood to enter into criminality. Lack of positive opportunities and inequality, I don't necessarily agree with. I haven't had the same opportunities as some other people. Just like you watching this, you would have had lesser opportunities than others, but are we going around armed with a blade taking our frustration out on others? In some cases, yes, but by a massively reduced factor than those in the BAME communities. And with so many BAME professionals in sport or entertainment stars, where is the lack of opportunity for them? How have they managed to get where they are now without falling into criminality if there is so much racism? It's genuinely because they decided at one point in their lives that they would do whatever it takes to become successful, and they worked hard to achieve it, just like everybody has to. So why do we hear BAME celebrities saying the same thing? It took hard work and determination to get where they are today, but yet so many other people simply cry poverty, inequality and racism as an excuse. I'm pretty sure these people didn't pretend to be white in order to become successful, and then one day, surprise, I'm actually black. So using those excuses, in my opinion, is meaningless. Not getting the job you wanted or getting shit grades at school are not an excuse to give up on your life and choose the path of criminality. And the more we accept that as an excuse, the more people will use it as an excuse and blame everything and everyone other than their own life choices. London Assembly member Sean Bailey, who proposed the original motion, said, "Since 2016, sanction detection rates have fallen from 17.3% to just 8.7% last year, despite there being more police on the London streets than at any point in almost 20 years. I'm very concerned, especially as the statistics in the black community are so much worse. Black Londoners are disproportionately more likely to be both the victims and perpetrators of knife crime. Until all Londoners are safe, London is not safe. The Mayor needs to take drastic and immediate action to reverse this devastating reality in our black communities. No, the Mayor needs to be gone, and someone who can do the job without bias, without pandering to people and without virtual signalling needs to take his place. The facts are clear. Cultural differences has caused a huge increase in violent crime, not just in the capital, but across the country. And this right here is why I have said that I don't believe that BAME people are disproportionately targeted. If these are the facts, if these are the numbers, then the police would know about them too. And the police have an obligation to protect people and property. And if that means stopping and searching of people who fit the criteria for a certain offence, providing they do it properly, without fear and favour, without overreach of their powers, and by treating everyone with some respect, then so be it. Let them crack on. I've said before in previous videos that if a child goes missing, the main perpetrator for a child abduction is a white male. So does it make sense that police would look to identify a male, even if they don't have the gender of the suspect? Of course it does. Just like if police received a call about drug dealing without being given the suspect's gender, the chances are they would initially be out looking for a male suspect, because it's males who are more likely to commit that offence. Does that make the police discriminatory towards men or white men? Or does it mean that they're doing their job? Yes, this will be hard for some people to hear, especially when you constantly attack others about their views, jumping on the racist bandwagon, because it makes you feel better about yourself. But the facts are the facts. I will leave a link in the description to the article on the Mayor of London's website, which will have the full amended motion test put forward by the London Assembly for you to read, for you to see the figures for yourself with your own eyes, so you know that I'm not making it up. I'm using my brain, I'm finding the information, and I'm sharing that with you.